Great. So Sheldon, we'll start with you. Who are you and what do you do?
Hey, everybody. So I'm Sheldon Day, current defensive tackle for the Washington Commanders, also the president of the Players Company. I've been in the NFL going on my 10th year and really excited for this conversation today.
Welcome to the podcast, Sheldon.
Appreciate that.
Tom, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Tom Zhang. I'm a former NFL sports scientist. Me and Sheldon met at the 49ers locker room, and I'm currently the co-founder and CEO of the Players Company. And thanks for having us on. I'm excited.
My pleasure. I'm interested to jump into the finance part of it, but as a high school hero, college zero, like college football player, I'm happy to have met with you as a running back. But anyway, so let's talk about like the idea. Where did this idea to start the Players Company start? Like, obviously you guys met in the Niners locker room. Was that the first point?
It actually was. It started because I had a teammate that was experiencing financial distress while playing, and I thought it was kind of impossible. You hear the stories about people experience financial distress 3 years removed from their sport. And I was just like, no possible way that this can be happening while you're going or while you have the potential to make the maximum amount of money that you possibly can. So had a teammate that was 2 or 3 lockers down. I think it was 2 lockers down from me. And just hearing about his struggles about keeping up with the Joneses, going out with us and clubbing and partying, buying the Benz, baby mama issues, just trying to do everything that he could to go broke, in my opinion. So really trying to have a conversation with him, had a conversation with the stakeholders who were supposed to have our best interest in mind, tried to develop some technology, tried to do everything. And it kind of came to a point where I knew that us as players, we had to take a stand. And that's where the Players Company started, is how do we stand up for everything that a player needs and aspires to be when it comes to the business outside of the game. So we started in the football locker room and kind of grown and been in NBA, WNBA, pro golfing, every type of sport you can think of. So it's been a pretty dope experience for us so far.
Awesome. And I guess the name Players Code, I want to hear from you too, Tom, but like, I guess it's like for players by players. I guess that's the kind of the naming convention. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also believe everybody's a player in life. It's this game that we all try to figure out as long as we go. And we really try to make sure that everybody has the blueprint and the makeup to make sure that you're successful in life, because I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. And just because I play in the NFL doesn't mean I can't affect my community. It helped my community also draw up the same playbook.
Awesome. Tom, how about you? Like, why did you leave your career path to jump in here with Sheldon?
Absolutely. So as we mentioned, met Shell at the 49ers locker room. I'm originally from Oakland, California. So similar to a lot of players, we came from not the most kind of wealth building community. And having seen it from the inside, as well as kind of walked through some of the horror stories with a lot of the players I worked with, I found that it was a extremely needed mission. And as Sheldon mentioned at the time, especially, there wasn't anything that was for the specific purpose for the perpetuation of building wealth for players that was started by players, right? So I hopped on with Sheldon, and I have to say it's one of the best career decisions I've ever made.
Awesome. Well, one thing you mentioned, Sheldon, was, and this is something I hadn't thought of, was actually the stress that it puts on players while they're in the league. You generally think like, the money, they make a lot of money in a few years and then they leave and there's a spend down and that's where the issue comes. But I didn't realize it actually puts pressure on people while they're still playing. Is that a very common thing?
Yeah. We get hit up from our family members, our friends, our financial advisors about business opportunities. And we don't usually have the time to do the due diligence that we need to do and make sure that these are the right business moves for us and for our families. So I think we get hit up more while we play than when we do post-sport, because once you're post-sport, everybody kind of forgets about you. So it's not, oh, I need to hit Sheldon up for this, this, and this. It's more so, oh, Sheldon's out the league. He probably doesn't have it anyway. So really try to get people to understand that you need a moat and somebody to protect you from those outside noises to make sure that you can make the best financial decision for you and your family.
So there's a lot of people in the community, I guess, looking for handouts, looking for help. What exists before the Players Code came around? Like what kind of infrastructure exists in professional sports to help protect players? Is there an infrastructure there?
I think there's a lack of infrastructure, and that's why we were created. It was more so financial advisor kind of was the gatekeeper of everything. And you kind of put all of your trust into your financial advisor. You didn't ask him where my money was going, why my money was doing these things. And now we are challenging the norm and the status quo of financial advisors and making sure that players have the intelligence to ask those questions, but they also have the intelligence to make sure that when they walk into a room, they can talk about equity stakes. They can talk about what it looks like to talk about growth potential and things like that. So really trying to change the narrative surrounding athletes and us being dumb money. I think that's what struck a nerve for me. I'm walking in these rooms. Oh, you're an athlete. You're dumb money. Well, help me not become dumb money. And I think that's where we're trying to change the narrative when it comes to athletes.
Right. Well, so I guess what I'm getting at, maybe ask a different way, like why does the existing industry, there's millions of financial advisors out there, right? Like tons of, like, we cover them in our coverage at Tearsheet. Like we're looking at all these new robo advisors and all that stuff. Like why did that not suffice that you guys had to go out and build your own company to do it?
Tom, you want me to do this one? Or
Absolutely.
So
I like it.
I guess financial advisors, no offense to them. I have a financial advisor. I use my financial advisor. It's more the alternative investment space to where we can create true impact on our communities and actually have passive incomes and things like that. My experience with institutional financial advisors, they're kind of stuck in the stock market. They don't really expand beyond that. And usually if you do ask them about it, they're shying you away to keep assets under management. So I think we are more of a holistic view, and we make sure that everybody gets exposed to things, and everybody has different interests. So we have guys that love franchising, we have guys that love real estate. We got guys that love VC and love to see a company start from $0 revenue and help them build up and scale. So everybody has a different lane and a different value add. So we felt like, why not create a collective where we can teach guys to find their passions outside of the stock market and the business world so they can add value to these companies.
I'm just going to piggyback off of that a little bit. And that was kind of like the original business model, was the empowerment and the education around specific niche areas, like what a cap table is, right? What the difference between a stock and an option is, what are the tax implications, all of these things that as a player, unfortunately, you may not get the exposure to, because either one, you don't get the kind of like direct exposure, or you don't have somebody walk you through it, or you rely on somebody else to do it. Speaking from personal experience, as well as a lot of the interactions I've made, the biggest benefit that we add is helping improve the financial identity of our members so that they can essentially fend for themselves. We're not an advisory practice. We're just here as a ancillary resource.
So let's talk about education, because that sounds like that's one of the core values that you guys provide. What form does that education come and when?
Shell, you want me to take this, or you got it?
You can start it and I'll jump in.
Dope. So we do everything from curated events with specific discussionary points on kind of all those things I mentioned, as well as highlighting kind of like real world experiences of what players have gone through, both male and female, what the wealth gap discrepancy looks like. We also offer blogs. We also offer webinars and all of the general gamut. I will say, to tease, we are planning on launching a platform of sorts later this year to make it a little bit more streamlined and accessible, so that you're getting kind of bite-sized integrations as opposed to having to sit through like a 30-minute webinar on a specific topic, because we're all busy folks.
And do you get the feeling that when people come in and join the collective, are they coming in as teammates? Like, are there sort of like micro communities within the collective of people like investing together, kind of doing the same thing, learning together?
Yeah, I would say we have three chief primary demographics. Of course, the athlete side, the current and former. We have the high net worth, the accredited investors, and the offices side, where it's more private wealth and focused on direct investments. And then we have the founders, entrepreneurs, and C-suites. They all merit different resources and different preferences. To answer your question, yes. Everybody has their own preferences, but that's what we love about our community is we create a good enough place where they can all commingle. Shell, what you think?
Amazing. And then we kind of meet people where they are. We feel like everybody has a different learning curve. Everybody has different interests, but we also like to kind of grow together throughout the community as well.
Are there network effects, meaning that like, are there certain like, I don't know, I know these people in my life, they're just great connectors of people. They come into a collective and they bring their friends and their buddies or whatever. Is like, do you find that there's a dynamic of, I guess I won't call it viral, but maybe word of mouth in terms of bringing new, members in?
Yeah, I would definitely say the snowball effect has grown, expeded or sped up our growth. We've done a multitude of events, whether it's LA, New York, Miami, and then one person hears about it, it's like, oh, I'm going to the TPC event, and then they're bringing 4 or 5 people, and then we did run into issues where we had a door number and they were like, oh, but I brought so and so and so and so. They just want to learn. So really trying to make sure that we grow organically and make sure that we can add value to everybody. But also we know that you have to win when your customers talk or your clients talk about how well of a job you're doing.
Are athletes behind the scenes as competitive in investing as they are on the field?
Of course. It's
Okay.
it's more so like, oh, did you see what my investment did? So now we're not even talking about a play that we did. It's more so like, did you see my investment do this? Did you see it do this? Oh, I just got in this real estate deal. What are you doing? So now is comparing our access to things and not necessarily comparing our athletic ability.
I'm not necessarily looking for like a quantitative answer, but like how widely held is crypto amongst players? Do you find that a lot of people own it?
Yeah, it was the talk of the league last year. It's like, oh, Bitcoin is going to hit 150. It's going to hit 150. And then I think it dipped for a little bit. And then so it's all ebbs and flows, like the roller coaster. It's like, oh, you see it go up. Oh, it's going to hit 150. And then it goes down. Everybody's like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to lose all my money. I'm got to get out. I guess teaching people about the trends of the markets and stuff like that has been really cool. And of course, we don't know much about crypto, I guess, about where it can go and how high it can go. It's all speculative. So trying to make sure people understand it as well. So trying to teach them about the crypto world and things like that has been dope.
Tom, you mentioned the platform that's coming. Are you open to discussing more about that? Because I think from our perspective at Tearsheet, like, the fact that you're introducing some technology to either to help with transactions or to help with connections, I mean, we'd be interested in hearing about that.
Absolutely. I can give a high medium level, if that makes sense. And
Sure.
this really came out of a good conversation Sheldon and I had a while ago, was kind of as a player or even as an investor, when you're looking at a specific dashboard, you kind of want to see where everything performs together cumulatively and how that relates to what's in market. So essentially, that's what we're building and hopefully launching with an adjunct to our specific materials on the EDU side. So a good example is if you are really into real estate, right? You want to see how fractional single families comparing to commercial, right? If you're going to invest in it, well, great. Here's what the market says, and here's a couple of snippets of detailed education that you could take a look through to help you make a more informed choice.
And is there an intention longer term to take some of the data that's created from within the network and share it around as well? Like, I don't know if, somebody's a particularly adept investor, like Sheldon's doing great, and he's got a whole strategy. Would that have a way of permeating throughout the group?
Absolutely. I think it's kind of like the similar in your locker room, right? If one guy's doing like really well on the field, everybody's going to want to know, oh, what's his secret or what's her secret, right? As a community, of course, that's up to our own privacy and disclosure aspects, but that is a tangent that we can essentially run the route in.
Sheldon, you mentioned before about community involvement. I'm curious how that plays a role in the activities of the Players Company. Is it part of it? Is it tangential to it?
Yeah, so everybody wants to get back to the communities in which they come from. So we actually have a nonprofit arm that we're spinning up to make sure that we can affect the masses and make sure that I speak from my own experience from the east side of Indianapolis, grew up in poverty. So how do I give back and make sure that they have the blueprint to be successful? How do I teach them about real estate 101? How do I teach them about how to go get a mortgage? How do I teach them about the little lay of the land to make sure that they can have assets and then we kind of grow and spend? And I think that's a great thing about the platform that we're about to launch, to make sure that we can affect the masses and make sure that we can spread the knowledge that we've built and learned, and then we also can add the access that we've been able to get into.
One of the things that we talk about in this podcast a lot is the generational wealth transfer, which is supposedly happening as the baby boomers retire. But like, how big a role do you think helping members manage generational wealth, both now and in the future for their offspring or whatever, like how does that impact some of the activities that are happening within the network?
I think that's why we started. We know that we have a short amount of time to make a lot of money, and we want to make sure that our kids have the effect of that. I know a lot of guys are talking about, when I retire, I want to do this, and this. And we're trying to get them, okay, well, how do we have a plan in place to do X, Y, and Z? Or how do we make sure that your passions become lucrative and things like that? So we're really big on generational wealth, and we make sure that we want them to pass along all the information to their kids, their community, to make sure that they can uplift everybody that they come in contact with.
And how are you getting the word out right now? Obviously, coming on the podcast that may reach other players, but what are you doing in terms of marketing and distribution to help get the word out around the Players Company?
So luckily, we've been a very good word of mouth company that we haven't actually done any hard marketing efforts. I would say our biggest distribution is through our events that have grown substantially from, 400 attendees to now in the thousands, or high hundreds, depending on the venue, of course. But in terms of marketing effort, hopping on great podcasts like this or partnering with good institutions, that's really our bread and butter when it comes to getting the word out.
So let's talk about the institutional side of things, as you mentioned. So there's a network here, right? So you've got players and high net worth on one side, and then you've got people coming in with private investments and stuff like that as well. Like, how do you determine who comes in the network? What do they get out of it? Is there education there about how best to deal with, the players that you're trying to protect?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we have kind of subsects of EDU content that everybody's accessible for, and it's completely free. And again, we are not an investment firm or an advisory service, but basically you're able to, once you have the small print. Once you have the proper labeling, so when you go on to sign up for an account, right, it'll ask you a whole dual list of questions like, are you an athlete? What's the highest level you played sport? Are you an investor? What's your net worth? What's your background, XYZ? Or are you just like an entrepreneur looking to XYZ? So we have a good vetting mechanism that puts you in one of the three buckets or a commingling of multiple, depending on how you answer. And based off of that, you are pointed towards specific material or events or XYZ, but you're also free to choose amongst yourselves, if that makes sense.
So it sounds like you're doing a good mix of offline, online, meaning you've got these offline events, you're getting people there, getting people excited, getting into the network. And then there's some online component as well, right? So like, how does that look like in the future with the platform? Do you always imagine that there's going to be an online, offline component in terms of being able to service your community?
Absolutely. I think the offline component with the events, a big key of what we do is whatever market we go into, we want to make sure there's a community involvement and charitable component to it to make sure that we're essentially having an impact on the local community, whether that's working with the kids, that's having a community event, a backpack drive, or giving free tickets to whatever. Right. So we're absolutely going to keep that. And we still plan on doing 6 to 8 events a year. The online or the virtual component is just going to improve as we start launching a little bit more technologies to make it more accessible, easier to digest, and making sure that our members and our core organization gets the most out of it.
I'd love to end with a question, maybe looking forward into the future. So you're launching the platform later this year, you're doing more and more events. If everything goes right and you continue this momentum, like, what does the Players Company look like in a couple of years? Like, what's the grand vision of this?
Shell, I know you got this one.
Let's start with Shell.
Oh man, so this is obviously my baby, and trying to nurture it to make sure we do it the right way. We have a grand goal of hopefully owning and operating an athlete-owned bank. I know when I very first got in, I didn't understand credit. I didn't understand anything when it came to financial literacy. So would love to establish a bank and make sure that athletes are nurtured as they go through their financial journey and things like that. And then obviously we want to continue to do events, host more events, and have a bigger footprint at the big sporting events. So Super Bowl next year is going to be a really big year for TPC. NBA All-Star is hopefully going to be another big year for us next year, and continue to go down the gamut and make sure that we have footprint at all major sporting events, and make sure that we continue to change the communities in which we come from and continue to affect both present and past players to make sure that we continue to add value to their lives.
I would jump off of that and agree for the most for all part.
That's a good thing because you guys are partners, right? Yeah.
I know. I know. And but just add at one point, basically summing it all up, we would love to grow domestically and internationally and be kind of the hub spot for player education, as well as specific offerings, and having our footprint impact market to market to market to market, so that we stay true to our mission.
Sheldon, Tom, that's a grand vision. I wish you best of luck in moving forward. Thanks for coming on the Tearsheet Podcast and sharing with us today.
I appreciate the time.
Thanks for having us.